The point of the story is I want to encourage whoever's out there that thinks they can't work on their own. You can do it. You can do it. And you can do it on the cheap too. You don't have to sell your car. You don't have to sell your wife, or it doesn't have to be an expensive process. What's up, YouTube? It's me, it's Dave, I'm back. Ooh, what's today's video about? It's gonna be about car stuff. So if anybody was hoping for a family update, sorry, not today, maybe later. But yes, my beard has grown. It's been a while. We're in a new house, and it's been a couple of years since I've uploaded a video. So let me get to it. This right here is my 2003 Corvette Z06. Z06, yeah, Z06. What had happened was slave cylinder blew out. I didn't maintain it, nearly 100,000 miles, and pedal stuck to the floor. It's leaking fluid on the floor of the garage. Can't drive it. So, you know, got to change the part out. While I have it out, I might as well change the clutch. So let me show you what happened to the clutch, or at least the flywheel. Show you what happens. That's what happens. See, you get little hot spots on your flywheel. Isn't that beautiful? And here's the pressure plate here. Ooh, pretty. All right, slave cylinder failed. Leaky fluid on the clutch. Causes hot spots, doesn't want to grab, won't release, all that good stuff. I just want to let you know, disclaimer ahead of time, I'm not a professional mechanic or anything like that. I have a day job, or whatever you call it, and I do this in my own garage. And I did not sleep in a Holiday Inn Express last night, so don't take anything I say seriously. And for all you haters out there that are saying that I'm doing things the wrong way, you're right. Absolutely, 100% you're right. But this is the way I'm doing it. So, anyway, like my new 5-drawer cheap cart from Harbor Freight. It's awesome. Got me a little silent compressor and a little hot rod right there. Anyway, about those. The point of this video is, not only can you do a clutch job in your garage on jack stands and wood, I'll get to that in a minute, but you can save enough money to buy yourself a tool cart, lights, and all that kind of stuff. Let me show you my little list of to-do here. So here's all the things that I did, or I'm doing to it. Pilot bearing remain, match balance the clutch assembly. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Install the new clutch assembly. Master cylinder, slave cylinder with remote bleed, so that never happens again. Bell housing, clean rear assembly, drain fluids, and trans diff and all that good stuff. Anti-venom mod, that's going to be the only modification I'm going to do. I'm going to put one, you can Google that, one washer on there to try to improve the shifting, and of course do the oil change and everything. Here's all my torque specs, so everybody knows that I'm doing it. Here's some more. So I put all that reference material there so that way I can keep track of what I'm doing, what needs to be done, torque specs and all that good stuff. I wanted to save as much money as possible. I wanted it done right, but I wanted to save as much money as possible. So these are 4x4s that I bought from Lowe's, and I cut them at 2 feet lengths. So, sorry, excuse me, my garage is a little dirty. But if you look up on YouTube cribbing, as you can see, I put 2 this way, 2 parallel or perpendicular this way, and 2 perpendicular this way. And then I added a couple extra wedges right there for extra measure. But this got the bottom of the wheel up 12 inches nearly. So the bottom of this car here is probably 22 inches or so off the ground. And then on the back, of course, I've just got jack stands. I got the 3-foot jack stands with the pin in the middle, because I don't want to guess whether it's latched or not. You know what I mean? So Those are $100. I spent money on that, but I also spend money on my $100 Costco jack. I love that thing. Anyway, so I started saving money by using the wood for the jack stands. But then I got into the project, started adding up everything, and it was going to be pretty expensive. Before I even started, my mother-in-law's car needed some work done. Her power steering blew out. She has a 2008 TSX, Acura TSX. They quoted her $1,900 for the rack and pinion and the power steering pump, the flush, and an alignment. $1,900. No way. So I wasn't going to let her spend that money or whatever. So I got on rockauto.com. And I don't work for them when I'm an affiliate link. I was kind of skeptical, but I did some research, and it's the same parts that you buy at like AutoZone and O'Reilly's and stuff. Anyway, I took a chance, and I spent like maybe $500 or $600 on parts and tools that I needed, some extra extensions and stuff like that, and got her whole thing done, the whole job. I did not only the rack and pinion, and the pump, but also all the hoses and the reservoir, everything, stem to stern, top to bottom, left to right, tie rod ends, everything, for like $500 or $600. Then her AC went out, and I got all the parts for like $430 or something like that. And I spent another $100 on a manifold and did it all myself right here in this spot. So I've been working on cars since I was a teenager, but I haven't worked on them in a really long time. So I was gaining confidence, not only in my abilities again, but also getting tools, like jack stands and stuff like that, and a toolbox to get this job done, which is massive, as you can see, because on this car, to do the clutch, which is here, you have to remove the torque tube, transmission, and rear differential. But you got to drop the entire rear assembly. So there's nothing all the way across there. You got to drop the whole rear assembly, which is right there, by the way. It's only a few bolts. Like you unbolt the, you can look at the YouTube videos. They're pretty straightforward. Pretty simple. So then I bought, this is $100 at Harbor Freight, $20 coupon or 20% off coupon, $80. Save my bacon, but don't lower it all the way down because it doesn't like come back up. You have to use your jacks. But anyway, it works for what it is, and it holds the entire weight, by itself. And I bought the cheap $6 straps and modified this thing by just putting the cheap straps on there. See? Rather than the one that came with it, because it was terrible. But I saved money there, and it's small, and it doesn't take up much room. So another major thing that I saved money on. So when I had it out, I'm going to do everything, right? Because I don't want to get back in there. I did the rear main seal, the rear cover, rear main seal, pilot bearing, all that stuff. I've already replaced, as you can see, I've already replaced the throwout, the slave cylinder, and I put the remote bleed on here. I don't know where I'm going to mount that exactly yet, but I also, while I had it out, you see this right here? It had the leak, it was oozing or dripping here, and I had to have a piece of cardboard on the floor of the garage, just, because it was a slow leak. So you crack this open here. I cracked this open here, and then we resealed it according to, I didn't even take this all the way off, but it opened up a little bit, just enough to clean it out. And then, I've drained all the fluids first, but then you put the gasket maker on there. That's how they do it from the factory, which is weird, but after. This car was manufactured in October of 2002, and this is to the 2019, so 17 years. I mean, the gasket, it's going to eat away, whatever. So all that's new. Let me show you something. Now, this has tissue in it right here, right? But these are Axial Seals. These Axial Seals from AZ Delco are like $60 or $70 a piece, or $50 or something stupid. I got these for like $6 or $7 a piece, and they're exactly the same. My old ones were leaking anyway, so what difference does it make? Because this is in the back, it's very easy to redo if I need to anyway. Whatever. Slave cylinder. Everybody kept telling me to get parts from Tick Performance, and I'm not knocking Tick Performance at all. I'm sure they've got they do have great parts. However, I got this one, a Centric, on Amazon for like $30, and I think on Tick Performance is $135. So I saved $100 right there. That's my jack stands, right? The master cylinder that I replace, the clutch master cylinder, on Tick Performance is $330 or something crazy like that. And I spent $60 or $70 on that. Or maybe it's $30, I can't remember. I'll have to look up all the prices, but it was less than $100. And the thing about it is, I looked on the Tick Performance website. If you look at the picture of the Tick Performance master cylinder, you will see that on the side it says Tilton. Well, you can order a Tilton master cylinder for $100 and build it yourself. You can build your own Tick Performance, homemade Tick Performance master cylinder for maybe $150 with all the parts and everything, you know, if you want to. Save you 50%. On that note, moving on. And I'm not knocking anybody. If they want to spend the money, then they go right ahead. Because I really don't have. If I had the money and I didn't care, I would just spend it. But I have a family, you know, and I want to keep my car. I'm not one of those guys that, you know, I've always been the kind of guy that, like, you know, if I can keep my car, my sports car, and still have a family, that's what I'm going to do, you know. Now, as for the clutch, I was told to buy a respected Corvette mechanic. That's all he does is Corvettes. The guy that used to work on my car, he lives far away now. Well, I moved away, but he told me to order the GM clutch, stock clutch from Tick Performance. It was like $500 or $600, and I was going to do that, right? Because I want a decent clutch, not just the LS6 clutch, not the LS7. I know a lot of people do the LS7, but I want my car stock from the get-go. When I first bought it, I just wanted to keep it stock, and it was fine. I drove one that was 660 to the rear wheels when I first got my car. I just thought my car was fast until I drove that car, and it scared the crap out of me. So I just wanted to keep mine stock because I've driven it. I think I bought it with 22,000 miles, and now it's got like 98,000. So I've put, you know, 80,000 miles on it. I've driven it. Every time I get in it, it goes over 100 miles an hour, you know. So and I've driven it on road trips and all kinds of, like, daily driving, rain, all kinds of stuff. It's dirty, real dirty right now because I was doing some woodworking not so long ago. So never mind that. But about the clutch. All right. So the clutch, it was like $500 or $600, I think, delivered. And what it is they drop ship it from GM. You order on the Tick Performance website, and they drop ship it from GM. You got to pay the $50 shipping, and they ship it to your house from GM. Well, that's what I was going to do. And then I thought, you know, I'm going to pull everything out and make sure I got an accurate parts list. So when I order everything at one time. And when I pulled my clutch out, I'd been reading on the forums that, you know, there's all these different people that, you know, order aftermarket clutches and this and that. No, this is the one's the best. This one's the best. You know, you should get an LS7 clutch because, you know, it holds 500 horsepower instead of 400 horsepower, blah, 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 whatever. It's heavier. And then, get an LS7 with aluminum flywheel, all this modifications and stuff. And then some people have problems, some people don't. And another thing was the match balancing, but I'll get to that in a minute. So I pulled my clutch out, and I'll show you the old one right here. And I noticed, I don't know if you can see this on the camera or not, but right here, is a little stamp that says LUK, Luke. There's another one right there. You'll just have to trust me because it's on there. So anyway, I pulled that out, and I've been seeing people say, that Luke clutches were good. And I think I even saw somewhere where they said that Luke supplied clutches for GM. And that GM actually bought clutches from Luke, rebranded them as GM, and then sold them to the public as GM clutches. And so when I pulled this out, this is the stock clutch. Well, I mean, they could have replaced it before 22,000 miles, I guess. But hearing this story online and knowing from personal experience how companies do this routinely, and I'm seeing evidence online that this is the case, I went ahead and took the chance and ordered a Luke clutch on rockauto.com. And it's exactly the same. And it ran and drove fine. I mean, it was a great clutch. It felt fine. Just the LS6 clutch, not the LS7. I don't remember the part number, but the LS6 is the 90 something, whatever it is, and then the HD is the LS7. So, and they're like a few dollars difference, like maybe $5 difference. But it was like $270. $270 versus $500 or $600 for a GM branded clutch, which is just a Luke clutch. So they buy the clutch for whatever it is, and they mark it up to, however much GM marks it up, and then gets their cut out of it. They mark it up too. So I'm getting the exact same clutch that would come in the package from GM if I were to go down to Chevy Parts House and order it, or if I order it from Tick Performance, the exact same clutch for a fraction of the price. So now I'm able to buy a toolbox, a compressor, various other tools. And then I saw a lot of people saying that you should match balance your clutch. What does that mean? Okay, so apparently on these LS6 motors from the factory, when they put them together, they attached the clutch assembly, flywheel and clutch assembly to the back of the motor. They put it on a dyno, which measured the balance of the motor fully assembled. And then they added weights to the flywheel to externally balance the motor, right? To this motor, okay? So I was reading a bunch about this, and some people said, oh yeah, I just threw mine in there and it was fine. I saw some people that said they threw it in there and it wasn't so fine, and they had to go through a bunch of trouble of hot balancing and all this kind of stuff. I pulled my old clutch out, right? My old flywheel, and I noticed right where this 5 is, I don't know if you can see it, there's a weight in this hole right here, a plug, and then there's another one right here about halfway through. I don't know if it's showing up or not, but you'll just have to trust me. Can you see it? You can see it through the hole there, right? But not there. And, oh, not right there. Not there. You can see light through there, but not there and not there because there's a plug. I don't know if it's steel or lead, whatever it is. So that gave validity to the fact that, number one, that was the factory flywheel, and number two, they actually added weight to the flywheel to externally balance the motor. And it could be zero balance. So what do we do? Okay, so I was seeing on forums people saying, "Oh, you need to call around to a machine shop and have them match balance the new clutch to the old clutch. So if the old one's out of balance so much on one side, the new one needs to be the same out of balance on the same side, clockwise, whatever it is. Like, for example, if it's 15 grams out on the 3 o'clock position, according to, the flywheel, because there's 7 holes here, you can always, and then the pressure plate only goes on one way. So if it's 15 grams out on the 3 o'clock position. The new one should be 15 grams out on the 3 o'clock position because this motor needs it. This motor, okay, because it was externally balanced like that from the factory. And I called around different machine shops here in Houston, Texas, and the first 3 said they couldn't do it, and the 4th said, oh yeah, well we can do it, but it's going to take a week and it's going to cost about $275. And I was thinking to myself, I spent $275 on the clutch, and I really don't want to spend $275 just to get it match balanced. So I started doing some research, and I found out where, of all places, someone on a Ford forum, Ford Mustang SVT forum or something like that, had used a motorcycle wheel balancer to static balance their clutch. And so I got on Amazon and I found one for $35. Now, I put a number 5, I don't know if you can see that right there, right where the other one was. Now, the old one, just the flywheel was 5 grams, I guess, heavy on the 5, where the 5 is. And when I put the old pressure plate on there, it was I think 3.5 ounces heavy where the 5 is. Okay, this 5, that's the old one. By adding lead weights to the other side, you know, you can balance it out, spin it, whatever. It's not dynamically balanced, I understand that, but I just wanted to see what it was static balanced. So then I put this one on. The flywheel was 0 balance, which is awesome. Remember, the old one was 5 grams or whatever out, or half ounce. So then I put the pressure plate on, and it was actually 2 ounces heavy on the opposite side, 180 degrees out from the old one. So, for example, the old one was 3.5 ounces on this side. This one was 2 ounces on this side. So it would have been 5.5 ounces difference attaching it to this motor. Now, I used to balance tires and wheels. I worked at a tire shop back in college. And at 7,000 RPM, 5.5 ounces, I imagine that's going to make quite a bit of vibration. So here's what I'm going to do. Saving money again. I'm going to 0 balance this. I'm not going to make it heavy on the side with 5. But I have the side with the 5 marked. So I'm going to 0 balance this, put it back in the car. And if there's any vibrations, I know to add weight to where this 5 is. And I'm going to do that with these. These are fishing bullet weights, and they almost fit perfectly. They're a little bit big for the hole, which is perfect, but I can use where the starter bolts up or somewhere in there to add. These are 1/2 ounce weights, so add a few of these to that side, and maybe some washers underneath one of these nuts, and get it balanced out. It's pretty straightforward. So how am I going to 0 balance this thing? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a drill press, because I looked at the cheap ones from Harbor Freight. They're like $65, but their reviews are horrible. So in order to get a decent drill press, they're like $200. So I went down and bought one of these cheap hammer drills for like $20, and I'm going to build a drill press out of wood. And actually, they work pretty well, you know, for maybe $20 or something. So I'm at the point now where I've saved thousands over the 2 cars, and I haven't really sacrificed any quality or performance, you know. whatsoever. And I've gained quite a bit of knowledge and courage as far as hacking what is commonly known in the community, just by watching YouTube videos like this one right here. So the point of the story is, I want to encourage whoever's out there that thinks they can't work on their own Corvette in their own garage. You can see that I'm not kidding, that this is my house and this is my garage. I love my wife, she's awesome, she lets me do this. But she lets me keep the car too, and she's not jealous. But you can do it, and you can do it on the cheap too. You don't have to sell your car, you don't have to sell your wife or none of that stuff. You just pick up the parts when you can and work on them when you can, if you got the space, and you can do it on the cheap. And it doesn't have to be an expensive process. You can keep your sports car and your family and live with both, and because I have mouths to feed. I don't want to be spending thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, some of the clutches I saw were like $700, $800, $900, $1,200. I think I maybe spent a total, like front to back on this car, I spent maybe $700, and that's rear main seal all the way back. Every part. I even bought a fuel filter, was like $60 or $70. I couldn't avoid that, but everything all the way back. I didn't do the bushings on the enclosed drive, the torque tube. I didn't open the torque tube, so I didn't do that. But everything front to back, all the fluids and everything, maybe $600-700, something like that. And then all the labor was done by me. So, and I have a friend who comes over and helps every once in a while, just to make sure I don't hurt myself, moving the big pieces around. And he has a truck, so we took the rear subframe and everything in the driveline to the car wash and sprayed it off, cleaned it up real good. So yeah, you can do it. I can do it. You can do it. Get after it. So if you like this video, smash the subscribe button, click like, hit the notification bell. I've been thinking that I want to do a project car after I get done with this one. Now, I don't care where I get it, Copart, Craigslist, whatever. It doesn't matter if it's blown up, whatever, because I want to throw an electric motor in it. But I was thinking about doing a Corvette, doing this one a long time ago, but it runs so good, I don't want to destroy what it is. It's such a good car the way it is. I don't want to mess it up. That's why I don't want to modify it, because it was such a good car beforehand. So, yeah, if I can find a cheap Corvette or something like that, maybe a 350Z or something small that would fit inside the garage, and it would be fun to drive and zip around town a little bit. I've always wanted to do an electric car, and I will build my own lathe and do metal pieces. I think my neighbor's got a lathe over there too, so if there's something I can't build over here or make over here, then I could just go see him and do it over there. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, and if you get 100 likes, then I will ask Billy to make a video with me so we can update this channel. All right, until next time.